So Liga MX finally returns, guys. January 12th all the way down to the 17th. If there's anything that I think I struggled with this past season was, well, then again, it's just gambling. I know nothing's easy, but I want to see if what I'm gonna try to do this season is come up with try to find a better way to calculate when these draws happen, because it be them draws that just be killing things sometimes, and that's what makes just football in general makes it a lot more different from anything from baseball or basketball or football. American football is in those games, there's in those sports, in those games, there's no draw. And in football, soccer, whatever you want to call it, there's that draw, and that draw factor definitely, it can help you, or it can also kind of break you when it comes to this gambling thing. So I came up and I did a little bit more research as far as some past results as far as round one or Jornada one in Liga MX. These are the last couple seasons, just to break it down for you guys. Clausura usually means the beginning of the year, and Apertura means the second half of the year. There's usually a small break in between. It's either spring or summer, right around there. So let's take a look at it as far as Clausura 2021. So the early season of 2021, we had 3 draws in that first round. In the second half of 2021, 3 draws again in that first round, Jornada 1. Clausura 2022, first half of 2022, we had 4 draws. Second half of 2022, 3 draws again. First half of 2023, 3 draws again in round 1. And Apertura 2023, this time we had 4 draws. So if this trend somewhat continues, that means it's probably a good idea to place in at least 3 draws, at least 3 bets on the draw on the card. There's about 9 games. There's 9 games on the card. So it's on average, the draw has been hitting in 30% of the games, right? We got 9 games, which means 30% is 3 games. So it's probably a good idea to choose 3 of those games. Let's pick a draw. I want to say there's probably at least 3 draws on every round of Liga MX, but for the sake of this video, I think let's just focus on round 1, especially because we don't have too much information as far as how the teams are going to perform. We only have pretty much the past that we can base all our evidence on. So we're going to take a look at the games, and let's see which ones somewhat so look like they could possibly be draws, because there's some games where we can just definitely rule them out, and we already know it's not going to be a draw. So let's try and find which 3 we can get to be a draw. If we can just get 2 of those to hit, because almost every draw will almost give you 2-1 on your money. So usually those odds are between plus 170 and like plus 230, something like that. So if we can just get 2 to hit, we're good money. We're definitely making some good money. So let's take a look at some of those games. Guys, so this is what round 1 is looking like. And the little red slash that you see above some of the games, that's the ones that I think most likely are going to be a draw. And most likely I am going to bet a draw on some of those. But, process of elimination, let's kind of go down the list for which ones I don't think will end in a draw. I'm still going to break down every game and release a video for every game individually. But I just wanted to give you guys an early outlook. We're going to come into this season with a new strategy, something better. I want to finish a lot better than I did last season. I'm only cutting myself a little bit of slack because last season was the first time I handicapped the whole season, not just on video, but actually putting in my bets and actually solidifying it. So this is my second run at it, and I'm definitely going to finish the second season way better than that first one. It was okay, I guess, for my first season, but this season is going to be different. We're going to end up with more money in our pocket. So I'm definitely coming at this a lot more tactically. Okay, so first game, we have Querétaro up against Toluca. Querétaro at home. That one, I don't think he can end in a draw. I think Toluca just has a way better team overall. Mazatlan and San Luis, I think the same thing. Mazatlan actually let go of a lot of the guys that they had. And although they play their best football at home, I still think San Luis overtakes them. Now, Cruz Azul Pachuca, I think that's a game that could possibly end in a good draw. Pachuca is usually a good, very, very good dark horse. And if we notice anything from last season, when they were on the road, they looked for the draw a lot. And they're actually one of the teams that ended up withdrawing in a lot of games. They looked for that draw quite a bit. So, and then Cruz Azul is kind of a mess still. They went through I think 2 coaches. I think they're gonna go through another one. They're still having some trouble recruiting new players, trying to get a good formation going. So it's gonna take them a couple games to get to it. They might be a team that's good to look out for this season. They're probably gonna do better this season than they did last season, but they still gotta find it. And another thing, from what I know as far as this first game, they're not going to play at the Azteca. They're not going to play at their normal home field. The Azteca is going to be renovated to get ready for the World Cup. So they're going to play in a different stadium. I believe they're going to play at the Estadio Azul. So that one, they haven't been too lucky there. They actually didn't win a single championship there. So I would say that's more of a neutral field. And then Cruz Azul and Pachuca, something with the owner, there's always been like a little relationship there. So I think this being not too important of a game, they might just want to split points. That's kind of a controversial side and a conspiracy theory side, if you want to call it. But nonetheless, looking at it strictly from just the game and football perspective, Pachuca looks for draws. That's enough for me to go ahead and place my bet on a draw for that game. Chivas, word is that they're struggling and they let go of some of the stars. Vega, I know, is out. Finally, it's about time. Santos struggling. They let go of a lot of stars. I don't think they added too much to that defensive side. So I think Chivas will take the win there. Chivas, I love that they produce a lot of young talent, even though I'm supposed to dislike them because, I'm an Atlas fan. Chivas, they produce a lot of good young talent. Like, no matter what. Doesn't matter what anybody says, Chivas does come out with a lot of young talent. So if they let those guys in, they're going to take that win against Santos. I don't really have a doubt about that. Cholos Tijuana up against America. America champs. Last season, they probably lost maybe two games at most, I believe. That first one, I know they won. They lost that first round, and Jornada won. They lost at home. But after that, they went on an absolute run and didn't lose a single game until like game 16, game 17. And I think maybe one in the playoffs they lost. But other than that, they went on an absolute tear and just did not lose a game. They're going to keep most of that formation. I think probably they're only going to replace Layun, which is, I think he was a center back or a left back. I forgot which position he's in. But it's a defensive position. I'm pretty sure they'll find someone to replace him. So I'm not too worried. I think they're going to take that win. So that's not a game I expect to be in a draw. Monterrey, kind of the same thing. They went on an absolute tear, but they choked in their playoffs. Puebla is a team that can compete and give you some surprises and pretty much play spoiler every now and then. But I think Monterrey got the right recruits to win this game. Or to come in strong this season, and their expectations was to be in the final. They didn't even make it that. They didn't really get close to that. So this Puebla thing should be just a warm-up for them. They should handle that. I think they win it at home. There's not much but this one could possibly be a draw. I might change it depending on it, but I heard or from what I've seen, they are recruiting Brandon Vasquez, a striker from Cincinnati. Really, really good, really solid attacker. So I think he's going to do great things with Monterrey. Pumas versus Bravos. Juarez last year, I think last season, they were a team that I think expected most. They did pull up a lot of upsets and a lot of spoilers and sometimes them being a couple of draws. And again, this is another game that I think might be worth taking the draw on, just because Pumas is missing quite a few guys. The only real striker they really have going for them is Cesar Huerta, and they're missing quite a bit of players. The coach left due to personal reasons, so I think it might take them a while to find their formation. So that game might be worth taking a draw on, but at the moment I'm not too sure because that does require for Bravos to come in strong, and they are playing on Sunday in the middle of the day, their usual time, their usual advantage. I think the elevation does give them an advantage here, and playing in the heat in Mexico City. So I think most likely this goes to Pumas. But if you do end up going with a draw, I wouldn't blame you for it. I might go to it. I think I'll make a final decision once I sleep on it and that day comes closer. It is only Tuesday, January 9th at the moment. Necaxa Atlas, two teams who played horrible this past season. Necaxa has been quite one of the more lower table teams for a while now. Atlas, the mighty have fallen. Boy, have the mighty have fallen. But they let go of a lot of players. They didn't recruit right, and they're just in the building process. So I think them going for their first game to Necaxa, I think that game ends in a draw. So I'm pretty confident on that one. And then last game, that one is going to be, I believe, on a Thursday or a Wednesday. That's going to be a middle of the week game. So León at home up against Tigres. I think León come in with way more to play for. Tigres, if you guys saw that final up against America, man, that was a heartbreaker. They ended up losing 3-0 in extra time. They were in it. They were in that game the whole time up until the game went into extra time, and that's where everything just went downhill for them. So still not a bad way to finish the season, but that definitely has to be a heartbreaker. They definitely gotta pick up the pieces and get back to getting to the final. But me personally, I still think that they come in still quite a bit heartbroken, and a hungry León catches them off guard, at least enough to get the draw. So that's probably my 30%. But if I end up going with Cruz Azul, Pachuca draw, and Monterrey Puebla draw, Pumas Juárez draw, Necaxa Atlas draw, León and Tigres draw. Those are five that I possibly just might hit the draw. And then the reality, I really just need 3 to hit. So if I hit the draw on 5 of those and 3 hit, I'm good money. Definitely good money. I like that a lot more than just Necaxa Atlas draw, León Tigres draw, and Cruz Azul Pachuca draw, because to be in good money, I'm gonna need 2 of those to hit. So I'd rather hit 3 out of 5 than 2 out of 3. I think 3 out of 5 is way easier to hit than 2 out of 3. So that's what it's looking like, at least early. It's still a little bit early. We'll get back to it once it gets a little bit later in the week. But this is what I'm kind of calculating. So if you guys kind of see what I'm thinking, and if you guys like how I'm thinking, if you guys don't like it, let me know. What do you think? Because again, the draw is always that third factor into betting on football, betting on soccer, because there's no guaranteed winner. The draw is just very possible during this regular season. This ain't like any other sports. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what games you think will end in a draw.